turn the tide. Let the water go where it wants to go. You can run and hide. You can bury yourself beneath the stones. Somebody told me don't pretend, 'cause everyone could use a friend sometimes. Take some good advice. Don't let your fear decide. That's how you break inside. You don't need to worry. Somebody is waiting down the line. You pick up the pieces. Hey, you'll be alright.
Hi, I'm Denise, and I'm half of the Does Size Matter RV Reviews and Adventure channel. And we have a new story that we need to share with you today. We were unsure about sharing, but decided that I actually need to share. We're filming here today, not in ideal conditions for sure. We're in the bathroom. I'll explain more about that. So it's a little more echoey, but that's how it is in a bathroom. And this is probably where we're going to be sharing this series of videos with you from moving forward into the future. So I'm just going to say it. Here it comes. I have cancer. Now what? That's how I've decided to share this video series with you, because we feel it needs to be shared. It is a really private and difficult thing. But I'm gonna share this on video for two reasons. The first one being that with my background and history, which I'll explain more to you about, I feel like I have a lot of information to share with others that are also just being newly diagnosed with this, and the process that we're going to go through moving forward. And the second reason that I want to share this is because I need to for me. Not real good at talking about things with my loved ones, in the sense that I tend to always be taking care of them. And so sometimes that keeps my thoughts and feelings up here and in my head, swirling around in crazy ways, when I kind of need to be able to express myself. So that's part of the reason why we're here in the bathroom, because this is a place where I come to think it through, to be on my own, to have a cry if I need to have a cry, to manage this whole situation. So throughout these videos, probably going to be a little emotional, but hang in there with me, I'm okay. Just the way that I express myself. And it's a good way for me to connect with you, my viewers, my listeners, my other support people out there, that I'm not quite as worried about as my immediate family. I worry about Corey and Courtney's feelings and how they're going to process all that's going on around us, and I tend to just take care of them. So I'm sharing with you in hopes that you and this process will help take care of me. So here goes. History-wise, I have been a registered nurse for over 22 years. I've helped a lot of people go through this process, and their families as well. And I've also been an adult educator at the college level in health programs. So I have a lot of understanding, and I'm not too bad at sharing and helping other people understand as well. I tend to be very compassionate in understanding people's feelings and what they're going through. Not quite so good at the self-care part. Easier to take care of others than myself. So this is the way I'm going to do it. These videos will be an opportunity for those of you who have just been newly diagnosed, or for you if it's your loved one or family or friend that maybe you are helping through this process, for you to watch too, or share with others that you know are going through something similar. It's a tough diagnosis to get, and we need to work together. We need to stick together and help each other through in any way that we can. It's also a long process, so I expect that as I go through it and I learn new things, I learn about the tests and the treatments and everything that we're going to go through, I can share it with you and help you to know what to expect as well. The process here, we are in Canada, so we're going to go through things in the Canadian healthcare system, which could be very different from where you are. But the tests and things will be pretty similar. So obviously we're doing all this in the middle of a crazy pandemic, which is altering pretty much everything for everybody in the healthcare system. Canada is struggling really hard, and it's not just COVID. Canada has a wonderful system that I've been proud of to be part of for the last 22 years. One moment. While we're in the bathroom, this is just a great place to grab a little Kleenex whenever needed. Very convenient location for me. So, Canada's health care system is suffering right now for other reasons besides the pandemic. We're really suffering with staff shortages and beds shortages. So even if the government were to put in a ton of money into beds, that would be really great, but we don't have the staff to take care of the people in those beds. And I'm a little worried about that in a system that I helped build and be part of for so many years, but never actually needed myself. As I'm moving into this stage where I will need the system, I'm a little worried that it might not be all that we've always hoped it was. But I'll tell you more about that. So really there's going to be parts of these videos that will be somewhat graphic. Parts of them will be numbers or information. And parts of it's just going to be feelings and emotions and things that we go through naturally in this kind of process. So the words, I have cancer, they're overwhelming. And a friend said to me, just attaching that word to yourself and your name is devastating. And it is. And for you out there, if that's you and you've just received this diagnosis, I get it. I get it if that's hard for you to say, because it really was hard for me to say. I'm about 3 weeks in now, but things are just going to start picking up for me. It was a real toil of whether I should chat with you about this or not. Just recently came to that conclusion that I would. And so I'm going to back up a little bit from that first diagnosis moving forward, and then I'll explain things to you in other videos as more goes on. So at first I just didn't want to call it that. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want my family to panic. I didn't want to panic. I'm a very even kind of gal. I don't panic. But then my family would also tell you that sometimes I maybe underestimate things because I don't want to panic or let it escalate. So again, if that's you, you know it's a really hard place to find the balance between the two. We don't want to panic. We really don't. We don't want to blow this out of proportion, but we also don't want to underdo it, right? It is a big diagnosis, and at this point we don't even really know what the full picture of it is. So that's what I want to try and help you through in this particular video, is just being able to attach yourself and your name to that word. So I didn't want to believe it. The way that it was told to me was kind of gray, and did they really mean that? Or maybe they didn't, right? So there's that. But the more questions I asked, I kept getting the same answer. So I needed to get that reality as mine. But on the other hand, cancer is not the diagnosis it used to be. with the amount of research and learning and money and treatments and everything that we've learned about cancer over the past 30, 40 years has brought it to a place where it's very survivable. There's many, many different types. It's very survivable. Maybe not the smoothest road to regain health, but it's a road that can be traveled. And we need to keep that in our minds. We can get through this. Do those negative, scary thoughts get into your head? They've been getting into mine. So even though I'm a positive person generally and overall, they do get in there and they dig around a little and try to take root. And we have to accept them because that's real and that's what's in our hearts. But we don't have to grasp onto them and hold them. We need to let them go. Accept the types of thoughts and feelings that are going through your head as real and normal, and you're not bad and you're not negative and you're not a doomsdayer if you're feeling and thinking some scary thoughts. Just don't let them take root in your head. Move on to the more positive thoughts and hang on to those, especially at this time when you might not have all of the information, which is where we're at. So I'm just going to step back a little and tell you how this has all come about. My cancer, see, it's still hard to say, is breast cancer, which I also know is a very treatable thing. I do have a family history. My mother had breast cancer, and she's doing just fine. So that's a great thing to follow, right? I have had a cyst in my breast, which is not unusual for many women all the time, which has been followed by my doctor through ultrasound for numerous years. So I've had this going on. It has been monitored, and I've been told that it's a cyst and I need not worry about it. A couple of months ago, here's a graphic part, just so you know, in case it's not for you, that's okay. You don't have to listen to the graphic parts. A couple of months ago, started to have some bloody drainage from my breast. Obviously, that's concerning, but I did have a doctor's appointment made within the next week or two coming up. So I knew I need not panic. I knew it wasn't normal. Did a little research. Could just be the cyst. Kept my doctor's appointment. All was well. It just happened the one time. Went about life. We went and did other things. We went to Elkhart. We checked on the beaver. And for those of you who aren't familiar with our Does Size Matter channel, I'll put some links up here so that you can learn all about that too. But we did all of those things, came back, went to see the doctor. The doctor obviously was concerned, wanted me to go for another ultrasound and a mammogram. Now, taking another step back, in our last live that we did on YouTube, we explained that we were going to not travel this winter, and we were going to take some seasonal jobs at a ski resort in Whistler. We were excited about that, and it was going to be fun. We were going to try out some new things, and you can check it out on Instagram, because I did share with you the process and us getting there. We're living in staff housing and all those very cool and interesting things. We planned on sharing so much more with you, but then we hit a wall. Hear the screeching tires. I went for that mammogram and I went for that ultrasound feeling very positive, because I know this is a cyst. I mean, maybe it's got an infection or something in it, right? I don't know. But it's just a cyst. But when I was lying there on that table and the radiologist came in and she said to me, "Yeah, this looks like cancer." And I thought, "Ooh, really?" But she said it just looks like cancer. She didn't say it is cancer. And I'm like, "So, like, what are you thinking?" And she's like, "Well, I'm going to send you off for a biopsy." And I thought, "Oh, well, that sounds pretty serious." But I'm a positive thinker. Maybe I'm even a denial thinker. That could be either, you too. So I felt I just wanted to stay positive, and you know, she says it looks like cancer, but we're going to get a biopsy, and the biopsy will come back negative and all will be well. So it took about a week then for me to get in to get the biopsy, and in that week, of course, my emotions are up and down and up and down, and not really sure. And should I say I have cancer? I don't know. She just sort of said I probably have cancer. She didn't say I have it. Like, there's a difference, right? At least I wanted there to be. So I went for the biopsy, and I'll go into that procedure with you in the next video. But while I was having the biopsy, I said to the radiologist, just want to clarify a few things. Are we doing the biopsy to determine if I have cancer? Or are we doing the biopsy to determine what kind of cancer and how we're going to treat it and those kinds of things? Like, are we saying I have cancer? And that radiologist said to me, yeah, we are saying that. And he said they score it between a 1 and a 5 of how likely what they're seeing on the screen is cancer, and that I would have a high 4.5 chance of having cancer, with 5 being 100% for sure. They're never 100% for sure, or they never want to say that. But basically, yes, he's saying you have cancer. So again, I feel like I've been slapped across the face. They're saying I have cancer. So I tried to take that in and accept it as real. And we started having more discussions about it. Up until this time, we had just kept it between Corey and Courtney and Tanner, our son-in-law, and myself, because it was just really hard for us to process and accept that as a diagnosis and say those words out loud without being panicked and afraid. We started talking to our friends and sharing it with our family. Now remember, we still don't have the pathology results back, and the pathology is where they send it off to the lab. They take the cells in the biopsy, they send that off to the lab for the lab to analyze it. So we still don't have those results back. But now I've had 2 doctors tell me that yes, you have cancer. So we're now at the point that the biopsy has been done. The pathology will be back. I've now also had an MRI, and we'll talk more in the future videos about the MRI and that process to take a look at the extent of things. And tomorrow we head off to the surgeon's office, where all of these results will come into us, and whether I wanted to believe this diagnosis or not up to this point, we're going to have some facts. And I'm a facts kind of girl. I need to know the science behind things. And so this is going to put it in black and white, and this is going to put it in perspective, and this is going to tell us exactly what it is, how bad it is, or how good it is, and what we're going to do about it. A little nervous about that. But I also really just want to lay this out. It's been 3 weeks of trying to convince myself it's going to be okay, and that cancer can be beat. Many people are surviving this with no problem these days, and I will too, and my family is confident of that too. But it is going to be a process, and the facts and all the steps and stages that are coming with it are things that I'm going to have a hard time moving through. And I understand that you probably do too. So let's do it together. Allow me this time to share with you, discuss with you. There's all sorts of different groups and things and people, and I mean, people are kind and caring and helpful, but the nurse in me comes out every time I talk to someone face to face and tell them this, and they're sad or sorry, and I just want to cuddle them and tell them it's going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. No worries. We got this, is my standard answer. But I'm probably just like you and everybody else that gets this diagnosis at some point, where the fears start getting in there and making you worry and think and wonder, what the future will hold and how it will be. So I just want to spend this time chatting with you in these videos. Probably going to be a lot more bathroom chats. And the reason we're doing this is because this is a place for me. It's a place where I'm probably going to spend a bunch of time into the future. It's a place where I can have privacy, where I can share my thoughts, where I can think things through and share them with you. So I've said it. I've accepted it. Almost. Not 100%, I gotta say. Not 100%. I need to see those pathology results before I'm going to take it in 100%. But I am accepting my diagnosis, and whatever it brings for me in the future, I will face with my family and the support that I have all around me. And I hope you do too. We'll talk about that in future videos, the support networks that we need and how to use them and choices. But I just want to sign off on this note, letting you know what's going on with us, why we haven't shared a whole lot on social media lately, how we're going to handle this, and how we're going to share it with you, because we have so much to do. We are going to continue our jobs as long as we can here. We've made a commitment and we're committed to keeping it. And then we're going to go through this process of treatment. And on the other side of this, I am getting back in the beaver. And I am getting back out on the road to do the things that I love. We are going to continue to find great RVs to share with you. We are continuing to build our RV buying tool. Yes, absolutely everything is being slowed down right now, but we're going to continue to do it because those are the things we love, and those are the things that give me a boost of happiness and energy in my heart. And that's what we're going to do. So I thank you for sharing with me at this time. I thank you for being patient with me. I thank you for supporting me. I thank you for spending your time sharing your thoughts, feelings, and experiences in the comments with us. I hope that I offer you something and we learn together. And I'm going to sign off here. And it's okay to have a few tears, and we will have those. But we're going to get there. And I've said it. I have cancer. Now what?
Someone said it's better when you hold on to a helping hand. Sometimes we could all use a friend. Don't let your fear decide. That's how you break inside. You don't need to worry. Somebody's waiting down the line to pick up the pieces. Hey, you'll be all